Listen up, patriots, gaytriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called iHip News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20-minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw.
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw.
That's it. That's
Caw-caw.
That's the patriotism that this country needs right there.
So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Patriots, gaytriots, theytriots.
Caw-caw.
Oh my God. You have to do better than that. We're on.
Okay, hold on. Caw-caw.
This is a messy start. We are on the Reproductive Freedom Bus in Pennsylvania, and we have been on it for the last 3 days. We've met with so many fantastic people, interviewed right here in this bus, and we're going to play some of those for you all in a moment. But until then, let's get to the matter at hand. Pumps, what have you had it with?
Okay, what I've had it with is this whole Laura Loomer situation. Trump is palling around with a racist, homophobic human being that is so vile. And he's running around on the plane with her, and she's just everywhere, and he's spouting off stuff she makes up. I know he's vile too. Is that?
I have a question.
Okay.
Are you saying that, like, she's hanging around with a racist homophobe is new for Trump? Or it's just a new person?
It's just, I guess it's in general, like the Nick Fuentes, the Ye or Yeezy or Kanye or whatever he is. I've had it with all those racists being around him and then people acting like he's not a racist. Like,
right.
It boggles my mind. I would not take somebody on my private plane that I knew was racist. I wouldn't even know it.
Right. But you know the phrase birds of a feather.
I know, but I'm jaw dropped that somebody who is running for president for the third time, that's disgraced the Oval Office already, would be running around with these type of people routinely.
He is this kind of person.
No, he is.
I'm just like, I'm not shocked. My jaw's not on the floor. This is just another day in Trump land with a new racist. You know why? Because a lot of the others are in prison. Steve Bannon. So when all of your friends and your advisors get incarcerated for ripping people off and the grifting and the lying and all the crimes they commit, then you have to bring on new ones. And then when all of the sane Republicans have left the Republican Party in large numbers, people from the Reagan administration, George W. Bush administration have all come out in large numbers, and people within Trump's own administration have endorsed Kamala Harris. What's left? What's left over there? Bottom feeder city. So spare the pearl clutching Pumps. We are way past that. Come on. Come on.
Can you imagine if Kamala Harris was hanging around with a Laura Loomer type?
Of course I can't. Of course I cannot imagine that, because she wouldn't do that, because she's a woman of color and a woman who advocates for everyone. But am I shocked? Am I clutching my pearls over a racist hanging out with a racist? No, I'm not.
You don't think she's crazier than crazy? Well, I guess you do. You're not saying. No, she's awful.
Of course she's awful. Of course she's terrible.
So is he.
Donald Trump is equally as awful. Equally as terrible. Both of his shithead sons are equally as awful, equally as terrible. Melania is a total sociopath who went to the border and had that jacket on, you know.
Yeah, I don't care or something.
All that stuff. And then you've got Steve Bannon and just this, you know, continuing clown car of morons. Ted Cruz,
Rick Scott, Jim Jordan.
All these just total bottom feeders. And no, I'm not clutching my pearls over it. We're mobilizing. We're on this bus. I'm not shocked in the least. And I will not be shocked anymore, because when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
I know, but I was shocked. I mean, I was shocked.
But that suggests that you're giving somebody credibility to shock you.
What I'm shocked about is that his advisors that nobody has.
Let me interrupt you. His advisors are racist. Well, it is a group of people that, here's the situation. If you are a MAGA Republican, there's an umbrella, and underneath it fits white men and the women who want to promote them and stand by their side. That's it. That's their tent. The Democratic Party, you have the LGBTQ plus movement, you have minorities, you have people against gun violence, you have the Latino community, and on and on and on. Reproductive freedom, which is why we're on this. Kamala advocates for everybody. I am 0% shocked that Donald Trump hangs out with despicable people, because I remember clear as the nose on my face when he had the MyPillow guy at the White House every day in the Oval Office leading up to the January 6th insurrection. This is not new. This is not new information. We have to quit getting so, oh my God, a racist hangs out with a racist. Well, no shit. Of course they hang out with each other because it makes them feel normal.
You're right. But I guess I just want this to be there's so many things that should have been disqualifying.
They're not.
I know.
They're not. And us being gobsmacked by it is not helpful. It's more helpful to just say, of course, he hangs out with Laura Loomer. Of course, there's room for her language on that airplane and in that campaign, because I've read Project 2025. I'm aware of all of the surrogates. I'm aware of their policies. I saw with my very own eyes January 6th. I see all the Confederate flags, the Charlottesville. I mean, why are we surprised?
I know. I'm still just, my mouth's hanging open. So that's my had it, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. All right. My had it is, what I've had it with today are stupid people that believe stupid lies. And this would be all of the Fox News viewers who believe that babies are murdered after being born in American hospitals across the United States, which of course is a total lie.
Why?
People that believe that legal immigrants are stealing people's dogs and cats and cooking them up and serving them. People that are beheading geese. One of the biggest ones that really gets to me is when people believe that Trump didn't ban abortion. This is a carve out that I hear women that look like us and sound like us say. I was playing pickleball with a woman about a month ago, and she said, oh no, Trump didn't ban abortion. That's a myth. He just sent it back to the states, and it's a states issue. I said, well, in this state, it's banned. And let me tell you what that looks like. If your daughter is out at a bar and somebody slips her a Mickey, she gets date raped, and she gets pregnant from that date rape, she has zero choices. Zero. There's nothing that she can do. But because you have money, you'd be able to fly her, somebody who's already traumatized from being raped. Then she has to go on a trip to get medical care because, quote unquote, Trump's abortion ban is a myth. And that's just, these are the lies that a lot of white women tell themselves to justify voting for this sexist, racist. And I have had it with that type of white woman that makes a carve out and has the money to fly her daughter to a state where she can get abortion care, but doesn't give a shit about the poorest people in the United States of America that are stuck having their rapist baby. And it's just the lies that they believe and that they protect, and they make carve outs, and they just, it's the one thing that Trump has done very successfully, and I give him all the credit in the world for this, is he has exposed the most sanctimonious Christians that I know to be the bloody hypocrites that they are. They'll be friendly to their gay friends, but the minute they can go vote against their rights and their well-being, they'll do it. They will say, oh no, I'm against, I don't think that women that are raped should have their rapist baby, but they have no problem marching to go vote for Trump. And it's because their life is protected. They're financially protected. They probably live in a gated community. And I've had it with people that believe stupid shit, that are stupid, that don't care about anything until it personally happens to them. Then all of a sudden they found Jesus on it, while the whole time before that, pretending like they're these big Jesus thumpers had it.
No, I think that's a great one because it's everywhere where we live. Everywhere.
Everywhere. That is, you have in the Trump supporters, you have the cult, which are the people that you saw at January 6th, that go to all of his rallies, that wear all the crazy shit, drive around with a Trump flag on their car, wear Photoshop pictures of Trump looking, like he's not fat. And then you have a step up from that, you have women like us, women that we know. And that is all across the United States. And they try to be cool in real life. But when they get to that voting booth, they vote against every single person except for their husband's wallet. And there's some sort of weird sanctimony and judgment about it. And I can always sniff these women out pretty quickly. I know that this person that's being so drippy sweet. I know when rubber hits the road.
Somebody's too nice.
You just know. They're going to fuck somebody over.
100%.
And I don't know
I
how.
don't trust people like that.
And I don't know how that's fixed, especially when the right wing has this propaganda news channel.
Yeah.
That just feeds people all these lies. But I think what I'm more concerned about is how stupid people are to believe stupid, outlandish lies.
No, that's true. I mean, when you sit there and you hear somebody saying they're executing babies after they're born and that people believe it, yes, it's the responsibility of the people telling the story, agree. But everybody knows that's not right. I mean, that's not happening.
Right.
I do appreciate the things I've seen posted that execution after birth is called school shootings.
Yes.
Because that's true.
It's horrible. And I've read articles that the Sandy Hook students that survived that, this is going to be their first election to vote. And think about, all of those kids that were shot just so Republicans and the gun lobby can have their way. But yet at the same time, they say they're so pro-life. They care so much about the kids. And it's just such breathtaking, hypocritical bullshit. It is total bullshit. And it takes 1,000,000 times more courage to stand up and fight for what's right. Because on the other side of this, that right wing, they are so full of hate and judgment and religious sanctimony. I think it's some of the ugliest movement in the United States, and they've always been on the wrong side of history, this group of white people. You've always seen them, the ones that are spitting on a little black girl once they desegregated the schools, trying to go into school.
Right.
That white rage, you see it, and it's still continuing, and now we live around it. And the reason that they are not upset about Laura Loomer pumps is because they share those same thoughts. When Trump came down that escalator and he signaled that he was going to be racist towards immigrants, that was their guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are so happy, listener, even though it doesn't sound like it right now. Seriously, we've had the best 3 days. We've been in Pennsylvania with Kylie, and Kylie's holding the camera so she can't read the reviews. And we've been going to rallies and met with a lot of people. And we have 2 guests that we have interviewed on the bus. And the first one is Kate Walsh. So let's listen to what we said with Kate. Joan Vassos is making history at 61 years old as the world's first Golden Bachelorette on ABC. On The Golden Bachelor, Joan made the decision to leave the show early, putting family first. Now she is returning to the Bachelor Mansion for a second chance at finding the second great love of her life. This season, 24 men ranging in age from 59 to 71 will attempt to capture the heart of our leading lady. Joan is setting out to prove that people in their golden years still have a lot of living left to do. Tune in for new episodes of The Golden Bachelorette Wednesdays on ABC and stream the following day on Hulu. Pumps, I love in the summer to make a little summer slider and pop that slider on a little Hawaiian bread. And I have started using Hero bread. It's so much healthier. It's so much more delicious. I'm obsessed.
I'm obsessed too. I love their tortillas because they really taste amazing and you don't have to feel guilty about eating carbs because they're low in carbs and no sugar.
Listener, all of your favorites, no consequences or compromises, 0 to 1 grams of net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and high in fiber. Hero bread is delicious and flavorful. The soft, fluffy experience you love when enjoying a juicy hot dog, refreshing BLT, or mouth-watering cheeseburger. Listener, get the carbs out of summer without compromising flavor with Hero bread. Get 10% off your order at hero.co and use code HADIT at checkout. That's HADIT at HERO.co. Pumps, my addiction to Skims loungewear has just been catapulted. What I love so much is I can put on a Skims tank, throw a blazer on over it, wear it to the studio. And then as I'm working late into the evening or going home, I can leave the same tank on. It's the effortless nature of the loungewear that you can dress it up or lounge around with it in the house.
What I've noticed about my Skims Soft Lounge sleep set is the minute I put it on, I feel stress come out of my body. It's so cozy.
I love my soft lounge tank and boxer. It is the best tank top I've ever worn, and I feel like I've tried every rib tank on earth. Listener, you've got to shop the Skims Lounge collection at skims.com. They are now available in sizes XXS to 4X. And if you haven't yet, be sure to let them know that we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select I've Had It in the drop-down menu that follows. Listen up, patriots and gatriots. We are on the Reproductive Freedom Tour bus with Kate Walsh. Kate, how are you today?
I'm so well. How are you?
Great. We have been chatting with you all day. I feel like we're friends now.
I know, I do too.
I feel like
for
we're
real.
friends. And how big of a crush did I have on Kate during the whole private practice?
Pumps had a huge crush on Kate, but Kate's partner, that's not secret, is it?
No.
Is Australian. And all of our listeners know that Pumps hasn't been laid. I think it's like 9,000 days now. So she's like, this is my partner. And he starts with the Australian accent. And I look over and Pumps is like, oh my God, are you from Australia? I just love the accent. And she's just over there flirting like you wouldn't believe on the campaign trail.
Chatting. Just chatting.
Yeah. Chitty chatting, kitty catting. I like it. I get it. He does very well. Like everybody's like, oh, hello, Australia. Where are you from?
I mean, the accent is just,
He's
great.
handsome. Yeah. All right. So Kate, what have you had it with?
Okay. I've had it with, I won't even say his name. The guy who's banned all the abortion and reproductive rights across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trump. Ugh. Yeah, I've had it with him. I've had it with his idiocy and just the hate and the anger and making fun, everything. The racism, the sexism, the misogyny, all of it. I've had it. Had it.
You know what gets me is how everybody is just, they keep moving the goalposts with this man. So he comes down the escalator, calls all of these immigrants that we all know, many of immigrants.
Yeah.
Our ancestors were immigrants, calls them criminals.
My dad was
rapists.
an immigrant. Our
Exactly.
country's built on it.
So
Yes.
then they move the goalposts and they keep moving it. All the crazy shit he does, all the crazy shit he says. Then we get to January 6th after he's been impeached. And then now he's just, I don't even know if he's mentally stable or what the problem is with this whole eating pets and eating dogs. And now he's moved on to geese. And I'm like,
geese too?
what country? Yeah. And now he's onto the geese. I'm like, what country are you living in?
No, I feel like, is he just sleep in a big crib and he's like batting at a mobile, coming up with these ideas? I don't even know.
He's
It's
so immature.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. He's batting at a mobile.
Yeah, when there's actually everything is on the line. Like literally
Right.
our democracy is on the line.
Well,
You know, I've talked about it. It's like it's tantamount to the Taliban here in America, but it's to the extreme Christian right. It's not going away unless we elect Harris Walz. Like
No.
that is real. And it's I feel like people just keep not wanting to think about it.
I think we have to remind voters. I remember distinctively when RBG died, thinking,
Yes.
oh no, this is not good.
Yes.
I immediately thought
You remember
about
her holding
abortion
on?
care.
She was like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Trump wins, and then he gets the 3 Supreme Court picks, and we all knew what was going to happen. And there were, spontaneous protests from women all over after
Yes,
Roe v. Wade
that's
was
right.
overturned. And everybody needs to remember all of the women in their lives and that this is a country about freedom. People may personally choose not to have an abortion, but at the end of the day, do you want, like we have a governor, a male governor, who I'm certain hasn't been to medical school. I'm absolutely certain of it. He thinks it's his business to be in the OBGYN
It's
appointments
so-
of teenagers.
It's so terrible. It's just so deplorable. There's just no logic to it. There's no room to even entertain the idea. And I'll tell you what, just as a person who has played a TV doctor, as you know, but also has advocated for women's health, not just reproductive freedom, but my own health. I had a brain tumor. And women have to fight for their rights and for their reproductive freedom. People don't care generally. Anyway, you have to fight. And then on top of that, you have all of these bans. And it doesn't just affect abortion care. It affects obviously access to birth control. People have been talking about IVF. It affects how students are going to study medicine. People, like you said, they're leaving your state
They are.
because they can't practice OBGYN. So then you don't have these doctors. It's backing up all the other care that people can get because emergency rooms are pausing. They're turning women away into the parking lot to bleed out. Or how much sepsis do you have? It's madness. And I feel like we cannot remind people of that enough because it's so easy to get distracted with the noise of the fake stories of people eating geese and, cats and dogs. It's absurd.
Well, we have to remember that Trump is on the record saying that not only does he want to ban it, and he flip-flops back and forth on that, but he's also said that he wants to criminalize it, that there
Yeah.
should be a punishment for
That's
women
correct.
seeking health care. So when you say it's like the American
doctors.
Taliban, it
Yeah.
is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who's going to enforce that? Like the morality police, who's going to go around and enforce which doctors have sent medication in the mail or which doctors haven't? Or how did you have an accurate record of how septic this woman was, before you took her in? It's insane. And nurses, it's a travesty to people who've taken an oath,
Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to play a game with you called
All right.
Had It or Hit It.
Okay.
Okay. Had it or hit it, Elon Musk.
Oh, had it. Had it.
just as repulsive as Trump.
Yes. What happened to those guys? I mean, what happened in those houses? What happened in that house?
A lot of bad stuff.
I think so.
All right. Had it or hit it, gender reveal parties.
Had it.
Same.
I mean, come off it.
Enough.
I mean, it's like you do interiors. Like, we don't need to have a theme for frickin' everything.
No,
I agree.
Right?
And it's not like Pumps and I always say, it's not like you're popping out a kangaroo.
Right.
That would be interesting.
Right.
You're having
Now,
a human.
Who cares?
It's not new. People have been having babies since the beginning of our species, and all other species have it. Why are we celebrating the gender? And what if the child doesn't feel strongly and is non-binary later
That's
in life?
right.
I've had it
think
with
about
them.
that. I've had it too.
grandstanding.
It's a lot of grandstanding.
It's a lot of look at me.
Yes.
Had
Like,
it.
Let's not make a meal out of a snack. Okay.
All right. Had it or hit it. Mirror selfies.
Oh.
Do you hit it?
Mirror selfies. Oh no, had it. I don't. I'm
Okay.
bad. But I'll tell you what I do hit is that subtle filter. I don't know if you've seen it. Subtle. It gives just enough blur. So but I have had it with how people like me on TV now that I'm a lady of a certain age. Unless I'm staying next to like Lily Collins, like very close. Like, you just don't get. I like myself better in a selfie. So there you go. I
Okay.
digress, but
Had it or hit it. Zodiac signs.
oh, hit it.
You're
Are
into
you
it?
into it?
Yes.
What's your sign?
I'm in Libra.
So do you
I have a Scorpio rising though.
What's your?
Oh no, you know all the lingo.
You're way into it.
Yeah, but I don't really know any more than that. I forgot. I don't know what the other one is, like the moon or
Do you
whatever.
read it daily?
No, I used to. I've gone through phases. It's sort of like solitaire. Like sometimes I'll get really into playing solitaire.
Right. Yeah. It's entertaining.
It's like, what level of mental health am I at? Where's my OCD going to manifest? I'm either going to really hit that horoscope, go, come on, tell me everything's going to be okay.
All right. Had it or hit it autocorrect.
Had it. It doesn't work anymore. I don't know if I don't have my iPhone on the right settings, but I am constantly having to correct my own typing, and it doesn't really correct it well. Or it's finishing my sentences.
Yes, the finishing.
And then I'm like, hey, that's not what I'm saying.
That's not what I'm saying. I spell so poorly that I can't even get autocorrect to correct me sometimes. I mean, I have to because it's not even close enough. But I hate the autocorrect because it's like, that's not what I'm saying.
I hate it when it does. It goes ahead and does duck. And I'm like, nobody in the history says I'm ducking mad at you.
Right.
No,
It's
I know.
ducking.
And why do they still insist on
Or
that?
duck
Can't we
you.
just have a thing in settings that says, hey, fuck is one of my favorite words.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to use, so just put that. So always put.
No duck.
No.
All right. Had it or hit it, no show socks.
Oh, hit it.
Same.
I mean, these are still showing slightly. So I'm not losing at the game, but I love the no shows. So long as they're not so no show that then they roll down the heel.
Yep.
Hate that.
Don't like it.
Did you know that we've had some Gen Z guests on our show?
I've
And
heard of
Gen
them.
Z,
I've heard of them. I've heard of that generation.
They make fun of us for the no show. So they have come out with their own sock now, and it's not quite like a crew. And it's not quite the no show. It's just above the ankle.
Oh,
and this
I have
is
some
one of their
still left over.
So see,
From high school.
all right. Had it or hit it, mandatory work parties.
I mean, I would say I'd had it.
Yeah.
Who wants to do that?
Nobody.
If you have mandatory in front of a party, that's just not a party, is it?
No, it's
No.
not fun. Immediately
No.
not fun.
It's like a gender reveal. It's like
Can't we just say Merry Christmas, Happy
Okay,
birthday?
here's a great one. Had it or hit it, couples photo shoots.
I would say I had it, except if I'm watching them. They're so silly. I mean, I find it deeply amusing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'd hit it
So
to watch it.
Have you and the hot Australian done a couples photo shoot?
No, I can barely. No, we have not. Oh my gosh. But that would be really fun just for, I don't know.
Just for shits and giggles.
I was going to say shits and giggles.
Were you?
Yes. But then I was like, that's really going to
Maybe on the bus tomorrow, we can do
A photo
couples,
shoot
a
of you
couples
two.
photo shoot.
shoot, like a prom
Right.
pose.
He'll have to put his arms around you like this.
Yes.
All right. Last one. Had it or hit it, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Oh, hit it. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Yes. Yeah, that's the only choice.
It is.
The only.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I came from the other side of the world.
Yes. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining us. It's been a pleasure meeting you. And we're going to be on the bus with you for a couple of days, fighting for women.
Yes, fighting for our reproductive freedom. Boom.
Yes. Get out of the medical rooms. It's weird.
It's weird.
It is weird. He said it. He nailed it. Hashtag nailed it. Tim Walz.
Yeah.
That's right.
Weird.
It's
Yeah.
just
Stop
It
it.
is weird.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Pumps, our ability to suck and then wake up the next day and suck more than the previous day is undefeated.
It's unparalleled. We are the champions.
If you would like to see how bad we suck, please join us in Seattle in September or New York City in November for, just some world-class shit talking.
That's right.
Live
Live and in person.
That's right. Pumps, it can always be a challenge to shift your wardrobe from summer to fall, but luckily Quince provides timeless, high-quality items that I adore, and they don't blow my budget. For example, I just ordered 2 cashmere sweaters from $50, and I ordered some pants for every occasion. But my all-time favorite are my washable silk tops. I have them in cream and black, and I have so much more.
I have a burgundy silk tank that I wear all the time year round because I can wash it, dry it, and it's ready to go.
All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. Listener, make switching seasons a breeze with Quince's high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/hadit for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/hadit to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/hadit. Pumps, fall is here and everyone is getting back from vacation, heading back to school. And you know what that means? It means it's time to whip out your Bombas, the amazingly comfortable socks, tees, and underwear that give back with every purchase.
I love my Bombas socks. They are so cozy. They make me feel just like snuggly all the time.
Bomba has the best socks for fall to start you off on the right foot and the left foot too. Trust me, you're going to want both wrapped in these absurdly comfortable socks. And these aren't just your regular old fall socks. They're actually playful and fun. And the great thing about Bombas is that for every item you purchase, they donate one to someone experiencing housing insecurity. It seems small, but this truly adds up. Listener, ready to feel good and do good? Head over to bombas.com/hadit and use code HADIT for 20% off your purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/hadit. Please use code HADIT at checkout. Joan Vassos is making history at 61 years old as the world's first Golden Bachelorette on ABC. On The Golden Bachelor, Joan made the decision to leave the show early, putting family first. Now she is returning to the Bachelor Mansion for a second chance at finding the second great love of her life. This season, 24 men ranging in age from 59 to 71 will attempt to capture the heart of our leading lady. Joan is setting out to prove that people in their golden years still have a lot of living left to do. Tune in for new episodes of The Golden Bachelorette Wednesdays on ABC and stream the following day on Hulu. I mean, I have to tell you guys, anybody who's watched Grey's Anatomy and knows Kate Walsh, she is the most real person imaginable. Yeah. She was so fun. We followed each other on Instagram. We messaged each other now. She has a fantastic boyfriend named Andrew that Pumps was very smitten with because of the accent.
Australian accent.
Yep.
She is. I never even watched Grey's, but I had the biggest girl crush on her. Remember? We'd walk into 7-Eleven and be like, there's your girlfriend. And I was like, I just think she's so pretty. And she is the, 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10 in every category. She's fun. She's funny. She's sweet. Loved her.
And next we interview Hadley Duvall, and she has been a huge surrogate for reproductive rights, starting with her home state in Kentucky. And she's a survivor of sexual abuse. And she's one of the bravest people I think I've ever met. And we've been on the bus with her for 3 days. So let's hear what we had to say with Hadley. Okay, continuing on the reproductive tour, we now have a very special guest who has become a friend because we're riding on this bus together. Hadley Duvall, how are you today?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me.
So, listener, you may have seen Hadley in the news. She is a reproductive freedom activist all across the country, and she's from Kentucky that has a very similar political landscape to our state. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about your personal story and what got you involved in fighting for women's reproductive freedom?
So I am a survivor of sexual assault, and at the age of 12, I was impregnated by my stepfather at the time. And this was when we had Roe, and I had options. And then when Roe was overturned and people didn't have options anymore, I woke up with the reality of your story might be over, but your trauma is not. And so that was a harsh reality, and I kind of just took a post to Facebook and said, y'all don't understand what this means, and I let out the secret about my pregnancy. A lot of my family didn't even know about it before I made the post, and it is literally what got me here today.
And so I remember when I heard about the leak of Roe, and then when it became official news. And I fortunately have never been a victim of sexual abuse, and it was devastating for me. But I can't imagine how that would ruminate in your brain, like, oh my gosh, this could have been a million times worse. And so when you saw that they overturned that, did that feel so incredibly personal to you?
Personal, I feel like, would be an understatement. You know, it felt like it was just something that I had kept down and kept to myself out of humiliation. And then it was like I woke up and saw the news and something had just flipped, and I was so angry and so heartbroken, not just for little me, but just for those girls who are now little me, and they don't have their voice or their power because they're too young. And, you know, my heart broke and shattered for them. And that was 12-year-old me making that post.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that we talk about topically. We talk about abortion, or you're pro-choice or pro-life, and we talk about it very casually. But there's a real underbelly to reproductive care. And the underbelly of that is immense human suffering. And a lot of people have been victims of crimes. And a lot of these new proposed laws are putting the burden on the crime victim to prove a crime in order to receive medical care. And that's something that a lot of people that fall prey to crimes, specifically sexual crimes, they feel ashamed, and it takes years for that to come out. Can you shed light on this underbelly of this and all of the victims that really need privacy and support when they're healing from a traumatic event such as sexual abuse?
So, you know, my abuse went on for 10 years. It started when I was 5. And even after the miscarriage, it didn't stop. It continued until I was 15.
Oh my God.
And that's when we went through the legal process. I was a freshman in high school, and it was not fun. I mean, everybody knew our business. Everybody was talking about my mom. People were talking about my brother. People were talking about my family. And all I could do was blame myself. All I could do was say, you know, why couldn't you just keep your mouth shut? You could have just been quiet for 3.5 more years, turned 18 and moved away. And because of that, I didn't want to go to a lot of the court cases and the court hearings, and I didn't want to really be super involved. And even though my perpetrator took a guilty plea, it still took almost a year for him to be sentenced. There was proof of things, but, you know, the legal process is a long process, and they don't get in a rush. And he was bonded out. He was out on bond while we were going through the legal process. And that, you know, I'm also a 15-year-old trying to play soccer, trying to be a cheerleader, trying to get ready for summer, and I don't even know if I'm safe. And so that's the reality. You know, it's now, you know, I went through interrogation, and it was 3 men interrogating me. And it was so to the point to where they actually had to like bring out a body graph, because even though I was 15, I was so uncomfortable with them in the room. I would not use terminology, and you have to use specific terminology or they cannot press charges.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I had to like draw on the body graph all the places that I had been hurt, is like how they explained it to me. And, you know, even like now, those things still come back. You know, those records they get looked up, and people will still continue to drag my mom, or they'll, you know, say it didn't happen or whatever. So my case was settled in 2017, and it's still 2024, and people still bring it up. Like that, it's just it's a never ending thing. So for people to really have to deal with that and now not have options, I really couldn't imagine.
It's like being victimized all over again.
Every single second.
What I think is so brave and courageous about your story is we live in an abortion ban state, and very Christian, where, you know, our daughters won't need abortions. People that we know, we don't need this protection. And you put a face to what happens when girls are victims of crimes. There are so many different reasons for a woman to need health care. So when you've brought your story to light, you spoke at the DNC, do you feel more empowered being able to tell your story and relating it for everyone?
I do. I hate that I have to do it, but I love doing it because of the impact. There is nothing, I feel like I really owe it to younger me and to all the other little ones out there, especially because I remember being 12 and just looking for an adult figure that, inspired me or motivated me or, kept me going. And I often found that in music. So really being able to step into that light and hopefully bring some light and some love to people and, of course, educate them on politics is, I'm really grateful to be able to do so. But I just hate that we even have to fight for our reproductive freedom.
Absolutely. I can't help but think of all of the Hadleys that are 12, 13, 14 in rural America, an abortion ban state where Trump's abortion ban is in place, and the anguish and the further victimization of these little girls. And I imagine that that's probably what keeps you going, knowing that there are other Hadleys that didn't have a choice in their abuse, but you had a choice to get better, to a choice in your reproductive care. You have a choice to campaign and tell your story. But so many young girls, their voice is completely taken away by Donald Trump's policy that he goes all around the country and brags about incessantly. And I can't help but think that that just doesn't motivate you more, but also cause a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, every time Donald Trump speaks about abortion or even J.D. Vance, it's very personal. And I feel as if, they're talking right to me because they don't know who they're talking to when they say those things. They don't know who hears them. They don't know what survivors, what women who have needed this care is listening. And, that's maybe something they should take into consideration. And I live in a state where we have a total ban as well, and we don't have exceptions for rape and incest. And I met with the Kentucky Senator David Yates. We tried to file a bill, and they would not even assign it to a committee, and they didn't want to vote on something so controversial in an election year. And it's so crazy that they are taking away our choice by choosing not to hear out the bill. They didn't even read it. They did not even assign it to a committee, didn't even give it a chance. And, to be a face of that bill and for it to not get passed was definitely hard, but it was not a loss. It was just more of like a push. Like, right. Okay, you didn't hear me at the state level, I'll take it to the national level.
Let's get into the nuance of this idea, because I hear this a lot from, and you're from a similar state with a similar political landscape, and you hear this a lot. Well, I believe in exceptions. I believe in rape and incest. And that is really problematic, and you can speak specifically to that when they try to put that caveat in, when they try to put that exception in, because then the burden falls on a victim of a crime to prove her crime, and however long that would take, and you were just talking about all of your court proceedings, I would think would supersede a pregnancy. And it's all topical. When you hear about abortion care in the political landscape on the right, it's this, Trump will say, I believe in the exceptions. But the exceptions have a lot of complications, and they further victimize victims of rape and of incest and puts the burden on them. And I think that is so incredibly dangerous. And it is such an overreach when we're supposed to be the country of freedom. And it furthermore pisses me off, Hadley, and I'm going to say I've had it, with these men that have never been to medical school and have never fallen prey to sexism, to sexual violence, to all of the trappings that being a woman are, telling us what we can do with our bodies. I mean, I have had it up to my eyeballs.
Yeah, I mean, I completely get it. It's so crazy, and I really like to tell people, a survivor doesn't get to choose what state they're violated in.
That's right.
No matter what state lines I cross, I'm still a survivor. So your kid has to really think about what school they're going to go to just in case they get date raped? Are you serious? Why would we want our kids to go through that? Why would we want people to be so limited? And, you know, with exceptions comes all of the gray areas. Like you were just saying, every story is so unique and it's really nobody's business. Mm-hmm. And that is just, it's so awful that women have to put out our reproductive business, our private business out on the street for all these men to walk all over and judge. And then they can get away with not even sticking around when the kid is born.
Right. Fox News has started this new pushback on this, and they say, oh, it wasn't an abortion ban. He's just sent it back to the states. And I've seen women in my community say, oh, no, he didn't ban it. He sent it back to the states. And I would like to think that as women, we would say, if some of our fellow females don't have care, then we stand with them. And there just seems to be this ability to put on a blindfold and cherry pick which parts people want to believe or not believe. And what makes me so mad is that sometimes people aren't good for the sake of being good, and people aren't deep for the sake of being deep. Something has to happen to them for them to give a shit. And what you're trying to do, and what the Harris Walz campaign is trying to do, and the rest of us all gathered around here are trying to say, give a shit now, because Hadley can be any of us.
Yeah, I could be anybody's neighbor. I could be anybody's sister, anybody's teammate, anybody's best friend. Like, you can't wait to care when it happens to somebody and when it affects you, because then it'll be too late.
That's right. Well, I mean, you know, I can't thank you enough for going so deep with us, but I would be remiss if we didn't lighten it up a bit. And just outside of political discourse, like daily petty grievances, what have you had it with? What really bugs you?
When people are on the airplane and listening to a movie out loud, but like so, like not even trying to make it quiet,
Right. Uh-huh.
but so loud, bright screen, like it's basically like a flashlight is just shining, like no sleep on the plane. I've totally had it. I think I've been flying a little too much lately because I've had it with the people on the planes.
Don't
So
you think
rude.
flying just it brings out the absolute
From the
worst
time you
in
go
me.
through TSA all the way till you get off your flight,
No matter
it's just
how
bad
hard
behavior.
you try, it's a shit show.
Yeah.
You try to make sure everything goes right, it never does. Or, you know, there's somebody around you. One time somebody's dog was just like pooping through the airport, and I was like,
Oh my God, no!
I swear, I'm like, your dog is there's literally poop on the floor. Like, what are you doing?
Did the person get it back?
No.
They just kept going.
They just
left the
kept
shit?
going. They just left. People were
Hadley.
dodging the
No.
dog shit on the floor. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
That
I had
is
to
a
step over
terrible
multiple.
pet owner.
Terrible pet owner.
Terrible travel person. I mean, yeah, stupid.
Let's just say terrible pet owner, terrible travel person, terrible person.
You know what? I bet they were Trumper.
100% MAGA. No question in my mind.
I wouldn't doubt you. I wouldn't doubt you.
Hadley, this has been so amazing for all of us to be a part of this historic campaign. But my favorite part is getting to meet you and a survivor and somebody who is educating and helping all of the other Hadleys in the world and sharing with such grace and decency and educating women that look like us, that look like the women you grew up around, that are trying to find some sort of moral carve out to justify voting for a man who is a raving lunatic,
Right.
compulsive liar, and wants to take all of these rights away from women and have all of these weirdos like J.D. Vance and the governor of our state. You got a good governor.
You
He's
got a
not
great
hard.
governor.
Yes,
But the
I
governor
love
of our
Governor
state,
Bashir.
Kevin Stitt, wants to be in the OBGYN appointments, and he's the biggest dipshit you could ever imagine.
And see, that's crazy because he wants to be in those appointments and they want to make these decisions for women. But I bet they couldn't sit down with me one-on-one and listen to every traumatic detail of what I've been through. They couldn't do that comfortably.
No, of course
so why
not.
would they feel comfortable enough to tell me what to do with that trauma?
It's performative
Arrogance.
political theater with a breathtaking lack of decency or morality towards the women in their lives and the women of this globe. Hadley, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much for being on I've Had It. I mean, Hadley is such an inspiration and
really
a
is.
reminder that when we talk about these things, rape, exceptions for rape, exceptions for incest, we just say them so casually. But when you say those words, there's a real human being that was completely victimized and had no choice in that.
As a child, a baby child.
And then you have Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Project 2025 and our governor, Kevin Stitt, who says, it's my business what happens to you after you were victimized, and I get to decide what you do with your body. And I think that is the most draconian, Taliban way of life. And I just think we all have to turn out in droves and vote blue up and down the ballot for women all across this country.
Absolutely. And Hadley really is. She has such grace and elegance. And what she said that really stuck with me is knowing that she had an option to not have the child was the only shred of hope she had to hang on to. And I thought that is devastating for girls that live in abortion ban America like us.
And there are just, millions of Hadleys all over the world. And at least in this country, we can try to restore that choice and get the government out of that, because it's insane. It's weird. It's Taliban. And I don't know, listener, if you've ever looked up our governor, but the thought of having him in your OBGYN appointment is so appalling, and it's so creepy. And Kevin Stitt is just the creepiest creep that he thinks that's his business. And there are lots of white men like him.
A lot.
And it's just disgusting.
Millions and millions, tens of millions.
Yes. Okay, listener, be sure to subscribe and follow. And when will we see in Pumps?
Next Tuesday and Thursday.
I'll tell you what I've had it with.